Hey guys, Joshua Basel here, founder of Copywriter Marketer and the author of the #1 best-selling program on helping writers get clients. Now, I have a question for you today that I get asked all the time with the thousands of writers that I've worked with. They love to ask me, well, how do I increase my client flow? In other words, the number of clients that are coming in, and then how do I increase my cash flow? So you don't just want more clients, you also want more money, and then that money can be turned around and used to create an amazing lifestyle, to fill your life with things that matter most, which of course is why we're doing this. None of us want to just sit around and write copy. So how do you increase that? Well, again, I've watched 1,000 different writers go through the process of making initial contact and then having conversations with potential clients and then moving that conversation to an agreement and walking through that whole spectrum of doing stuff, servicing the client, then potentially upselling, cross-selling them, and walking through that whole spectrum of stuff. And if you look at these different steps, the fact is that some steps are super high leverage. In other words, they're fulcrum points. So you could mess up some of the things, but you've got to get some of the other things really right in order to have the success that you want. So what are those critical points? Well, I want to talk today about one thing that this is the one thing that will change the math on the whole, spectrum. And I can give you a clue, like the initial one thing that changes everything is your list. So, well, the first thing is the niche, but I've talked about that before, but then the list, like who you actually go after. So who's your target audience and who are you talking to? You get that stuff right, and that's a big game changer. But what's the next biggest game changer in this whole sequence? And part of it is this the piece of the puzzle when you're presenting yourself, so your portfolio. So that would be like the third most critical piece, and I go into an in-depth training on that particular piece of the puzzle because it's so high leverage. I really want you to get it right, but that piece of the puzzle is how do I put my portfolio together? How do I make it super persuasive? How do I make it so it looks professional even if I'm a brand new writer? Like, how do I do all that stuff? And so I cover that in my program at jtbportfolio.com, jtbportfolio.com, and we talk about the perfectly persuasive portfolio and how you put it together and what's the psychology behind it and what's the structure of it. But today I want to kind of go beyond that and talk about what happens next in the sequence, because there's a number of different things here. There's the conversation you have with the client and the way you put proposals together and a whole bunch of other things, but what's the next major piece of the puzzle? Your niche, your list, your portfolio. And again, please go check out that complete training. It's free. It's in-depth. It gives you awesome insights into how to build your portfolio. www.jtbportfolio.com. That's where you can find that piece of the puzzle. So now let's focus on the next piece. How do you use that portfolio? How do you engage with them? How do you change up the math and change up the equation so that you get super high response rates, boost your client flow, boost your cash flow, and have the assurance that you can always, make more money and not always have to be in the grind of, groveling for clients? Well, here's what it is. This is what I call the system of 20. The system of 20. Now, what do I mean by the system of 20? Well, all of us only have 24 hours in a day. And with those 24 hours a day, we've got to eat and sleep and breathe and drink and go to work and do all the different things or look for clients, whatever we've got to do. And so I figure that most people have enough bandwidth to focus on prospecting about 20 potential clients at a time. But the question is how do you do that and do it effectively? Let me run you really quick through a system, what I call the system of 20, and show you how this happens. And this is really a follow-up system. So where we're at on this cycle here is you've got your perfectly persuasive portfolio, which I show you how to do over at jtbportfolio.com, free training for you. So you've got that portfolio. You make some initial contacts with the list, a quality list that you chose over here. You make some initial contacts with that list, but then what? I mean, if you make one contact with a potential client, are they just going to be like, oh yes, I want to hire you, and be all excited and be super like, yeah, this is the best, you're the best writer I've ever imagined? No, that's not going to be the case. Because studies in marketing and sales show that human beings need an average of 7 to 15 contact touch points in order to make a buying decision. This is true for you when you're going and whether you're deciding to make, a purchase on a stick of bubble gum, or whether you're making a major investment into a house or a car or something like that. 7 to 15 touch points is sort of a magical number in the buying process. And we could get into the psychology of why that is and what goes on in our brain and keeping us safe and making decisions and creating change and all that stuff. But we're not going to get into that. Let me just show you the mechanics of how this works. And if you follow the mechanics of this and you use this as a follow-up system, as a process to get back in touch and to be in front of and to have those touch points, you can do this systematically and it will literally change the game for you. It will go from, I contacted a bunch of people. I had one of my students say, I contacted like 600 people and nobody said yes. And I said, well, how many times did you have a touch point with them? He says, I just contacted 600 one time. I'm like, well, there's your problem, because the average human being needs 7 to 15 touch points in order to make critical decisions. And he says, well, I didn't really want to bother them. Whoa, stop for just a minute. You don't want to bother them. If you say that, that means that you think that writers are like, that you're trying to get something from them or con them into something or aggravate or irritate them. You've forgotten that we, as writers, we are the engine that drives business. Content, communication, video, social media, sales materials, all this stuff, this is what drives business. This is what helps businesses to grow. And so you're not a bother to people, you're a solution, you're a value add, you're an inspiration, you're the thing that's going to help their business take off and have great success. So never feel like you're a bother, that's silly. So have the courage to reach out and to reconnect and to follow up and to give them the opportunity to have those multiple touch points so that they can make a decision and hire you, okay? So here's how this works. System of 20. This row right up here is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and yes, Saturday, okay? Saturday. This represents week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Now, I'm not going to take the time to fill this in. You'll get the idea really quick. So on Monday, you take 20 people out of your list, your high quality list, in a niche that you know is valid and proven. And again, if you want some more instructions on that, go back. I did a whole live session on picking a niche. So you can go back here, and on Monday, you make a connection with 5 of those people. And on Tuesday, guess what you do? You connect 5 different ones. On Wednesday, guess what you do? You connect with 5 more. But here's where you need to make a decision. Are you going to be very aggressive or only mildly aggressive in your follow-up efforts? Well, if you're going to be very aggressive, then what you do is this is the new 5, and this is 5, we'll call it 5-1, because this is the people you talked to on Monday. And what I've got right here is it says you need to contact them every 2 to 3 days. Now you might say, follow up with people every 2 to 3 days? That's crazy. That's obnoxious. That's like overkill. That's like, wow. You know what? It's really not. And if you understood how busy these people are and how much information is being thrown at them, you realize you really need to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. So every 2 to 3 days is not crazy. Half the time they're not even going to see your email. Half the time they're not even going to pick up the phone. Half the time they're not even going to realize that you sent them stuff. Even if they saw your initial email, they might not even realize you tried to connect with them on LinkedIn. Whatever your method is for doing this, which we're not getting into right now, I just want to show you the flow of this. So you need to contact them every 2 to 3 days. So Monday, you make an initial contact. Day 1, day 2, you're going to contact them again. You could go to day 3, but I'm not going to use that pattern right now. So then on Wednesday, you're going to contact those 5 number 1 and 5 number 2, right? Because on Tuesday, you've had 1 day, 2 day, you're going to contact them again right here. And then on Friday, you guessed it, so now you've got 5, 10, 15, 20. That's your 20. You want to focus on these 20 and make 10 contact touch points with them over the course of a given month. And all you're going to do is every couple of days, you're going to reconnect and reconnect and reconnect. So see how this works? So this is 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, and 5-4. You got 4 sets of 5, and you're just going to recontact them. And on Saturday, guess what? You do this again. And so you do this until you've gone through, and again, I won't go through and work out the whole thing, but you can see how you're going to go through, and we'll just call this, so every other day you're going to reach out and connect with these people, but because you're always changing this up, you're leapfrogging who gets the follow-up contact and when they get it. Does that make sense? So every day you're contacting 5 people, but eventually you're contacting up to 20 people, and then those people start to fall out as they say no or as they say yes, and you can filter this back in. So in doing this, in having this frequency of contact and using this pattern, what you need to do is activate what's called the RAS triggers. RAS is the thing inside people's brains that allows them to focus on something and to pay attention to it. So focus on it and pay attention to it. So the RAS trigger might be something like, well, here's a good example. I was once at a party at a big business conference. It was actually a party for a bunch of speakers, and I was having a conversation. It was loud and it was noisy, and I heard off to the corner here, I heard somebody say my mother's name. Now, in the middle of all that noise and all that confusion, I stopped and turned and looked and asked somebody, did you just say Christine Boswell? And I wanted to find out. Now, what caused me to hear that one voice in the middle of all those other voices? It was because inside my brain, your brain actually picks everything up and listens to it. And inside my brain, my mother's name was important. And so I paid attention to that. And that's what you want to do, is you want to find things that are important to them. And I'll do a whole nother segment on this, but just know that when you're contacting them and connecting with them, there's a different process and a pattern. And a lot of that stuff that's going on inside their brain, I cover in my free training at jtbportfolio.com. And you can go and check it out, and you can get into the psychology, into the head of these marketing directors. Now, I want to just add 2 more things here and then wrap up. I want you to be short. I'm not talking about height-wise, I'm talking about length. So if you're sending out emails, or you're sending out LinkedIn profiles, or connecting on Facebook, or making phone calls, be short, be brief, be quick. And I've got entire templates. In fact, at copywritermarketer.com, I've got entire templates about how to do this and what to say, etc. And right now, if you go to jtbportfolio.com, not only can you get 1 hour of complete in-depth free training that dives into a lot of this stuff and tells you about that portfolio piece, but you can also get an opportunity to check out Copywriter Marketer at a ridiculously low price and get all the templates. If you go in there and download all of it, that's fine. But you can go and check that out at jtbportfolio.com. That's the best place to start. So you want to be short, you want to be brief in your connections with them, respect their time, but stay in their awareness level. And then you also want to give value. Remember that you are a solution provider. You are servant leadership. You're providing value for them, helping them to achieve their goals and their dreams, focusing on them, not on you. And of course, you do that through a series of showing them how you're a professional and asking questions and then providing real solutions for them. And again, I got a whole process for all this stuff. Today, I just want you to focus on the system of 20. Start off on Monday, make 5 contacts. 5 new contacts on Tuesday, 5 new contacts on Wednesday, 5 new contacts on Thursday. And then on Wednesday, follow up with the first group of 5. And on Thursday, follow up with the second group of 5. And then follow up with, and I got that a little wrong. So follow up on the next group of 5 and just keep leapfrogging it all the way down through the month. And by the time you get down here to 5 weeks, you will have contacted all 20 of these guys 10 times in a month or a little bit over a month, depending on how long you do this. And you will have given them 10 touch points and allowed them to make an important, informed decision. Cool? All right, so you can get more details on this and on the portfolio piece of this and the RAS triggers, all at jtbportfolio.com. Totally free training. Want to help you guys win. I want to help you get more clients, and I want to help you have more money. And I want to, by the way, how does this help? This helps because you will close a lot more projects, and you'll have a lot more projects coming in, so you can be picky and choosy and then you can pick the best paying ones. So then you can have more clients, more money, spend less time. That's what we're doing. So go check out jtbportfolio.com, get all the details on this, and also see how you can get for very, very, very inexpensive an opportunity to get all of my templates, all of my resources, and all of my training at copywritermarketer.com. So go to jtbportfolio.com and check it out. I'll talk to you guys soon. Until then, fill your life with things that matter most. That lifestyle piece, that's why we're doing it. See you on the inside. Bye now.